Hi everyone, I am going to be doing a Dirty Ombre Freestyle here today, and I'm hoping that we can also do something with a few celestial elements. So I'm going to start by putting down a wet coat or a wet section of this pink. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're doing a dirty ombre. We just want it to be wet so that we can blend it with these other colors. All right, so we're going to clean off our brush. Then I'm going to go in with this yellow, and I'm going to kind of put down another layer and blend it in. I figure I might talk a little bit about my background as an artist. So I've been doing art my entire life. I started by doing ... smiley face on paper as a very small child, and I've been working my best to get better since then. And some of you know that I am a calligrapher. I do calligraphy on nails as well as on paper. And there was actually a period in my life where I was doing that instead of my regular schoolwork in middle school. And as I was doing that, I got told things like, oh, you're practicing the alphabet, or you are wasting paper. And those things obviously hurt my feelings a lot, but I never stopped. All right, so we've got kind of a dirty blend there. We don't want to blend that too much because there is green in that yellow, and green and pink do not mix together very well. So I'm going to go in with a little bit more pink. Here we go. And then I'm going to go in with this blue. This will blend really nicely with the pink, so we are going to lay this down next to that pink. But anyway, as I got older, I was like, oh, I want to be an artist when I grow up and start making a living doing that. And I got told by my family that artists don't really make a lot of money, which is true. And they encouraged me to do things like be a pharmacy technician or be a psychologist. And I actually went to school for psychology for a little bit, and I learned quite a bit, and it's something I deeply love is psychology. But that also didn't pan out. So I've just kind of been doing whatever jobs I can do with the skill set that I have. I cook a lot. Currently I work in a restaurant, actually, as a cook, and I'm very good at it. I like doing both prep and line work. Line work, get it? Anyway, so now we're gonna go in with green. And we're just going to continue making this dirty ombre. Helps if I stay in frame. These products are from a company based in Oregon, where I live, called Light Elegance. They make wonderful products. You have to be a licensed nail technician or cosmetologist in order to buy from them, which I am. Oh yeah, I should probably talk about that. So I went to nail school in 2022. It was a competency-based program. So it wasn't a program that lasted very long. It was maybe a couple months. And like many cosmetology schools, they teach you exactly what you need to know to legally be a nail tech and not much else. So most of what I learned about nails in particular came from YouTube. I really love channels like Nail Career Education and Tabitha Scott Nails, and even Christine Simply Nailogical. I need more green. That's the thing about greens, is they often are not super pigmented, even in potted gel form, because green pigments are highly water soluble. Think about in nature, like green pigments usually come from things like grasses and leaves, which are part of plants. I'm actually going to go in with some blue without cleaning my brush off. So greens are often very water soluble. These greens are, or this green rather, is in a more synthetic form, but greens are still very hard to make pigmented. Oh, I actually went into the wrong blue and it made a really beautiful effect. I kind of like that. Anyway, I'm going to clean off my brush. And on both sides here, I'm going to go in with this darker blue. And I'm going to blend that into the yellow and the green, which will blend really nicely because green and, according to color theory, green and blue and green and yellow are all kind of in the same family. Because if you think about on the color wheel, there are primary colors and secondary colors. Blue and yellow are primary colors that blend into green, and the secondary colors are green, purple, and orange, which primary colors within that group don't blend very well, or do blend very well, but secondary colors do not. Which is why green, or rather, like green and red do not mix very well. It creates kind of a muddy brown color. Same with yellow and contrasting colors. So same with yellow and purple and orange and blue, because brown is created by mixing all the colors into one, at least as far as paint goes, not as much with the light spectrum, but with paint, you get brown if you mix all the colors. So if you think about it, blue plus orange, orange is red and yellow. So when you mix all three primary colors together, you get a brown. Same with pink and green. Green is yellow and blue. Pink is just a lighter shade of red. So when you get those colors together, they create a brown. I'm going to go in with some yellow. I got these out of the pot, so it doesn't matter as much if I get some cross-contamination here, because I'm not affecting my entire supply of this color. And yeah. So see, we've got some really pretty streaky blending there. That's what we want. That's what makes it a dirty ombre. And now I'm going to cure. We're curing that for 30 seconds. I'd like to know what your experiences with art are, if you would like to leave them in the comments. Do you have a really supportive group of people backing you? Are you kind of a lone wolf like me? Do you have people in your life who support you and who have encouraged you? I think it's a really important aspect of being an artist. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we are going to take a dotting tool, which I have here. I'm probably going to use this end because it's smaller. And I'm going to go in with some black. Honestly, I need more black, so I'm going to get more black out. There's my black. This is Black Tie by Light Elegance. My bottle is absolutely destroyed, but that is okay because it has a cover on it, and that is what is important. So we're going to get out some black. We're going to put it here. And then we're going to clean off our spatula so that we don't contaminate the other pots of gel when we pull out of them. So anyway, we're going to make some stars. We're going to make some black stars. So I'm going to draw a dot there. And here. Actually, I'm going to make this star a little bigger. So I'm going to use the bigger end of the dotting tool, and I'm going to make a bigger star. And then we're actually going to take the little end again, and we are going to make a smaller star right there. Here, I'm going to actually make this a little rounder. There we go. So when you make stars with a dotting tool, you want the dollops to be pretty thick so that you can take that product and pull it out the way I'm going to. So you're going to take your fine brush. I don't know if you can see that. Your fine brush. I'm actually going to zoom you in for this part. So you're going to take your fine brush, and what you're going to do is you're going to pull out points on the star. I try to think about it in terms of a star that you would draw, kind of the pentagon stars that you draw in school with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I kind of messed that one up, so I'm actually going to make this pull a little bit thicker. They don't have to be perfect, because what people are focusing on are the 5 points. I'm actually going to pull this out a little bit more. You want the arms of the star to be as uniform as possible. You can practice this a little bit and get good at it, especially when you are starting out. You want to make sure that you're getting good practice, of course. Unlike pentagon stars that you draw with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're getting kind of an arch between each arm, which can be nice depending on what you are trying to achieve. Usually I start by making a tripod like this instead of doing the head and then the 2 arms, because when you do that, you get kind of a better feel for where you want all the arms to be. Obviously, there are more than 2 ways to make stars. But anyway, we're going to cure this. We're going to clean off our brush. Very important to do. You can do this with alcohol. Alcohol definitely helps, especially if you have a brush with more bristles on it than this. But you don't necessarily have to have alcohol or acetone in order to do that. I'm actually not going to cure that for the full 30 seconds because these spots are pretty small. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take my my brush that I have specifically for colors. Where is it? Here it is. I have that denoted by this blob of color at the end of the brush. I have it cleaned off already. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make some clouds. So we're going to take some white. We're going to do a very sheer little bit of white on there. I have a hair on there. I'm going to pull it off. So we are going, oh, come on, hair. So now what we're going to do is create some clouds. They don't have to be perfect. That's kind of what I like about clouds. And then you shear them out. And as we create these clouds, we are also going to go in, we're going to clean off our brush first. And then we are going to take, sorry about that, we're going to take some acetone. These are hard gels, so you don't have to worry about them dissolving, but we're going to shear out those clouds even further to make them a little more celestial looking. See that? So yeah, and then if you want, you can even define the clouds a little bit with a fine brush. So you take your fine brush or your liner brush, whatever you have, jiggle it around in there to get some good product on there, and you can go over the tops of the clouds. Maybe bring them down a little bit. You can also go back in with your regular gel brush and make them a bit more diffused. You can actually do this several times. This time I'm going to try going in with the liner brush. Come on. We're going to go in with the liner brush and we're going to diffuse this out just a little bit. Try not to cover up the stars too much like I did. Actually, what I'm going to do is take the corner of this, get a little pump of alcohol, or acetone is what I have, and wipe off that white. The black is cured, so you don't have to worry about it getting messed up. And you can even take your towel and shear out the clouds a little bit. So this is what we're working with. I think it looks pretty nice, so I'm going to cure it. And yeah, we're basically done. I'm going to show you the final result. I'm only going to flash cure this. So here's what we're working with. I'm going to zoom you in so you can get a nicer picture. So my clouds are a little messy. You can make them a little bit less messy than that. And actually, in hindsight, I would have put the clouds behind the stars. But I was initially thinking, oh, it's a night sky, so yeah. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Let me know what else you'd like to see. Have a nice day.